Islam, peace, Ashe, Islam, respect, Namaste, Arigato, Konnichiwa, respect, whatever the greeting is in your respective language. I am your brother Crumb, and I'm trying to put in the title, which is Rework Creative, semicolon, crystals. CRYST, crystals, and got it. Now I gotta pin it. I think I'm good. Peace and love to the family. I have a special guest I want to bring on, which is Rework Creative. Go live with, and I gotta bring her on. Almost ready. In the intro, I don't see where I can find her at. Wait, is she? Sis, I think you got a request to come on. Can you, I think it's like two faces, two happy faces. And you gotta hit those two happy faces. I'm trying to add you. Can y'all hear me? I don't know if y'all can hear me. My creative join. There we go. There we go. I don't know if my joint is working like it should.
I got you.
Oh, okay. Okay, Houston, we live. We live.
That's my home state.
Okay.
Houston, Texas.
Okay, so thank you so much for coming on. Of course, everybody knows I am Crumb Snatcher. I just wanted to introduce my sister, Tony, who has agreed to come on live with me and talk about crystals. Thank you so much for joining me, Tony.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Could you tell the people about yourself just a little bit?
I'm a healing artist, but I was a professional singer for a long time, and that my spiritual shift happened, and tables turned, things happened, and I fell into a deep spiritual awakening, and then crystals came. And they showed up after a car wreck. I had, people call it near-death experience, I guess. And because of that experience, I was pushed out of my comfort zone in a really traumatic way and started having symptoms. And because of those symptoms, I started to seek, it was peculiar. It wasn't physical in the beginning. It was energetic. Burning hands and feet, weird, sleeping interruptions.
So
all these
gorgeous.
Things that people look up
God,
and
she's pretty.
But no one at the time, this was back in 2006, 7, 8-ish. And there wasn't a lot of material out there, but there was a little bit. But that's how crystals came to be. It became my alternative medicine.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, that's powerful. That's beautiful. So, right now you have a company called Rework Creative. And can you tell me a little bit about how long you've operated that company? And
yes.
And also, not you do a little bit more than just the crystals, but
yeah. I do a lot, and I don't know. I mean, I know we have an hour, but we might have to do like part 1 and 2 or something, because there's so many layers to this crystal thing. People don't really understand how they play in our life and in the world in general, in the universe actually. But I started my company's called Rework Creative, and rework because there's nothing new under the sun. So reworking with my interpretation, you know.
Facts.
And I definitely, I don't know, but some people might know, but what channeling is. But I do believe when I create that I'm channeling directly from God, source, the higher self, all of that connection.
That's beautiful.
It's yeah, I don't plan it. It's very organic. I'm very intuitive. I've always been a what they call peculiar kid, creative kid, and it showed up in my adult life as who I am now. So the jewelry was kind of like stringing beads and stuff because I had all this creative energy that I needed to get out, and I wasn't singing anymore. I moved from California and New York back to Texas, and it was a normal quote unquote life, and I needed to get back into the groove of things as a creative, and I wasn't doing anything I felt like that was feeding that. So long story short, I started making jewelry for myself, and it wasn't crystals. It was just beads and, tearing stuff apart, making it my own. And then next thing you know, the car wreck happened. Shit shifted, clearly shifted. And I sleep one night, or it might not be sleep. So in the waking hours, like 3, 4 in the morning, I get ideas. And but back in the day, I didn't know what I was doing at that time. So you're talking about 10 years ago, I didn't know I was doing this, but I was basically connecting with my higher self, and the whisper in the head, the inner self said, crystals, clear as day. And I was like, I know a little bit about crystals, but not a lot, and so I was like, what do I do? So I went to the stores, bought a couple of crystals, bought a whole bunch of books, but I didn't really need the books. I got what they call now downloads. So as soon as I would start reading, I would know what I was reading. And I was like, how do I know this? Why is this resonating? And I didn't even use words like resonance. I was just dialed in. But I was like I said before, as a kid, I was pretty tuned in. And as a kid, you're tuned in, but you lose it because of influence of your family and your friends and school and indoctrination and stuff. So, and I was a big dreamer. I didn't want to dream anymore because the scary dreams scared me. So I wished those away. And long story short, I'll skip back into present time. So around 2005, 2010, the crystals I start implementing them into my jewelry a lot. I was doing a little bit, but a lot. And I noticed when I would make the jewelry, it was attracting people. So it was helping me, and I knew it was helping me. But it started to signal other people. And I'm not to go far-fetched, but rework, as it is, it's its own thing. It moves without me. It causes a trickle effect because I was planting seeds with my intention into the pieces, but the jewelry itself, when it goes out into the world, whoever's wearing it, it brings more to me. It brings who needs what. People go, I heard you make jewelry. What can you do? So it's kind of like I was doing these prescriptions, but I wasn't calling it that. But people would come with energetic problems, emotional problems. But we know that when you worry turns into a physical manifestation. And the physical manifestation shows up as a cold or the cancer or whatever. And so started dealing with chakras. So it started to pour into all of these different things that I had to try to find out how to do it, but not scare people. Because you're talking about 2005, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. People were not doing this on that level. People would be like, that's weird. Oh, I don't wear stuff like that. That's weird. Why are you messing with rocks? Are you crazy? Those are rocks. And I'd be like, okay, you're a rock then because you're a crystal. We are crystal.
Teach. That's
our
right.
Blood is liquid crystal.
Woo. That's right.
Our fluids and in our body, everything is crystalline. Everything.
That's right. That's right.
We are carbon shifting into crystalline. So it's like we have all these components. in our system. Our brain has actual crystals in the brain. And if you're activated, those crystals come on and they send you connection to the universe.
Come on, somebody. Yes, ma'am.
I got dialed in basically, or I was aware of these things without knowing it, and then the car wreck brushed it all in. I don't know any other way to put it. And at first I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I got into a serious lawsuit with the person that hit me. And from that whole point, it was like I had to, they call it dark night of the soul, but I went through several years of a very dark, dark place, but I was never like a victim about it. I was like, I got to work this out. I got to figure this out. I got to figure this out. What is this? And I would sit still. I remember, this is off on subject.
Please.
A woman approached me around 2008, 9, something like that. She was a clairvoyant, but I didn't know that. We were in a nightclub, so all places. She was by herself. She said, "Can I come sit with y'all?" And I was like, "Sure, you can come sit with us." She was like, "Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. I beat cancer, and I've been by myself, and I wanted to get out, and no one wants to go out." But I needed to get out and just change my view tonight. And there's a concert, so I want to be there. So me and my friends, we welcomed her. She was so excited. She said, "You know what? If y'all not doing that tomorrow, I want y'all to come visit." I was like, okay. So me and my friends got together the next day. I was in California at the time, and she lived in Long Beach. We were in LA. So we drove over to Long Beach. She welcomes us in. Here comes the surprise. She's like, "Well, I just really wanted you to know I can read people, and I've done this since I was a child." And long story short, we ate with her. She talked to us, and it wasn't like Psychic Friends Network type meeting. She simply told me that I was doing too much and that I needed to slow down and be still. That's all this woman said. And pretty much straight after that, the next year, I needed to be still. And I got still. And so when the wreck happened, it reconfirmed I needed to be still. I needed to go and do some self-reflection. All kind of shit was coming at me, but I continued to be still, and I used to sit with the crystals. I didn't even meditate with them pretty much. I would just sit with them, and I was, mind you, having the physical manifestations of all my problems. So, when you're playing small, not owning my purpose and power, doing things kind of like the comfort level, like sitting at that job that I knew I didn't need to be at. So all of this stuff was hitting me in my stomach. So when the shift happened, I was having stomach pains, lower back pains, aches, feet, stuff that didn't happen to me before. So when I went and got the books and started researching, in Eastern culture, they know about the Kundalini.
Facts, yeah.
Our culture doesn't really speak about this stuff. They make it sound like pseudoscience, crazy. No, it's not happening, but it's real. So the car wreck stimulated my Kundalini and activated it. And that's what was moving up my body, causing each place it got stopped and stagnant in to hurt. And it was showing up. Yes. So it was like my chakras, if you know what chakras are.
Absolutely.
The chakras were imbalanced. And they were imbalanced before the wreck, but the wreck was like, you about to pay attention now since you weren't paying attention before. So basically all of this information rushed in, and crystals pretty much aligned with me. I can pretty much communicate with crystals without, it's not like you're hearing words, it's like a knowing. And I know, and I can feel them, and I have been aware of it since, I can tell you, at least since 2010.
If I could add value to that and break it down, with me being my character or the Crumb Stature brand, I try my best to break things down into layman terms so that it's like even my child or a child could understand what I'm saying. And back in the day, because what happened was I had made a video based off of the work on your Recreative Work page. I myself have not always been passionate about crystals, but they kind of took a place in my life, because we are in the the age of communication, the age of information. We're learning stuff. So I had just went on a quest just to learn any and everything, and I just came across crystals, and I just found the information to be enthralling, if I could use a fancy word. It's like, wow, these things is like, because I would see people wearing them myself, and I'd be the person to be like, I'm not quite there.
Right.
But, as I kind of understood the information that was in front of me, it wasn't about the looks. It was about, I personally wouldn't say they talked to me, but I felt something. I know.
So feeling is communication.
Woo, okay. So I had gotten into connection with the information, and as I start looking around in terms of what's being told and what's being put directly into my face, are you familiar with the the DC superhero named Superman?
Yeah.
Well, Superman, if you watch that first movie, it was like in the 1980s or something.
I probably saw it when it came out. I'm old enough to know.
Superman's headquarters was called the Fortress of Solitude. And the Fortress of Solitude was made of crystals. And the crystals held memories. The crystals could communicate. So the only frequencies that he had from his home planet was in those crystals. In addition to that, in the movie, Lois Lane gets hurt. She I don't know if it's the cliche she's running and falls from the bad guy thing, but some way somehow she hurts herself. So Superman takes her to the Fortress of Solitude and puts her ass in a crystal, and the crystal rejuvenates her. And this is from the 80s. Nobody was on it back then.
Right.
But they were just putting this stuff right in front of our faces, and I was like, now that I'm learning about the crystals, and then so I said, all right, I already got my little crystal video, and a video already, but I want to find some images of women that reflect me and put them in the video. So I go to Google and I'm Googling it, and I'm looking for pictures of melanated women, who understand, they're not wearing these precious stones for fashion. They're wearing it and embracing their culture and the power within these objects. And I looked everywhere, couldn't find it. But I knew you had that type of stuff on your page. Your page is like, it's a very positive reflection. I think, the energy on your page, just going through the page, I start feeling like I'm closer to the ancestors just on this page.
Word up. Right?
It's just a beautiful page, and a lot of positive energy within the pictures, and I see the stones, and I'm like, wow, and not just seeing the stuff, because I know that you have pictures with just the products themselves, but you also have women who have worn your pieces, and and it just, I don't want to say it made them look more beautiful, but like they say, when a woman is pregnant, she glows, or if being mature.
There is a such thing as a glow when you deal with crystals, and they can, how can I say, repress aging.
Ooh, teach. Okay.
So when you think about the makeup, and you just think about, even on a placebo effect level, you know what I mean? When you deal with crystals, they can be a reminder. They don't have to be that you actually think it's helping, literally helping you, but it can be a tap. Keep strong with. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when you say that, I try to get my customers and my clients to write testimonials and stuff, because that's what has to happen for people to understand that we've been taught so much everything's upside down right now, that they don't really understand. Crystals are our allies. Crystals are just like the trees and the birds, and it's a kingdom,
Two more movie references. So this next one, I want to ask you: did you see the movie Black Panther?
Yes, loved it.
And the
For a
movie,
lot of that.
a lot of part of the story itself was based off vibranium, which is a something from the earth that's giving off energy. You know, so and that movie overall, you could tell how they really tried to keep it cultural, and it spoke to a certain energy. Oh, I'm sorry, a certain part of the culture. You know, of the indigenous people of the world, whatever you want to call us. That we have in relation to these things that come from the earth. One more movie reference. No, actually, I think it was two more. My apologies. You
Okay,
ever
no
seen
worries.
Star Wars? I know you've seen the movie Star Wars.
As a kid, I remember just briefly. I need to get back in and look at that. But yeah,
Facts. Because the lightsabers in the movie Star Wars, the lightsabers were powered by crystals. And
right.
one thing I like to say is this information
Look,
a lot of
I
times.
pulled this out for you to see.
Ooh.
I wanted
Now,
to see.
okay.
It's dang near a lightsaber. It's dang near, right?
Oh,
It's dang near.
facts.
It's a big one. Like this is a smoky quartz.
If if I could speak to smoky versus clear, clear is a masculine aspect of the crystal. Smoky is a feminine aspect of the crystal. If I could share that with you, I've been doing
Indeed.
Ever since I've been following your page, I've been kind of brushing up, getting a little more acquainted. In addition to that, the video I made that I had based off of your stuff, and I want to say thank you for posting it and sharing it in your story as well.
Oh, I was honored, humbling, actually.
Definitely.
Because when I saw it, I was so happy. Because we're in a time people should be getting and understanding we can use this for ourselves. There's so much against us. This can be something we can utilize beyond big pharma, beyond indoctrination and brainwashing. And thank you for acknowledging.
You're very welcome. I was going somewhere with that, not to just be gracious, which I naturally am, but within that video, the video's content was talking about piezo electricity. There was this woman back in the I think it was the 30s maybe, but she discovered the element plutonium, or I'm sorry, Polania, something like that. But she's from Poland, and the element was based off her paying tribute to her nation or nationality, whatever. So now
Is her name Curry or Carrie?
Marie Curie.
Curie.
Curry, Marie Curie, but she got the name from her husband, who was French, so it's kind of like a whatever on it. But it looks like Curry. But yeah, she discovered this element by using crystals, and she was using what they call piezo electricity.
Yes.
And this isn't something from the occult world, because when she discovered that element, she got she received a Nobel Prize for that. She received a Nobel Prize, so this wasn't like no little thing or
it was a huge.
It was a huge discovery. It's on the periodic tables right now. So now when we're dealing with this, she was able to tap into the power of these crystals. Oh, I'm sorry. Another one in terms of crystals, I want to ask you: have you seen the movie Infinity Wars?
Yes.
Do you remember what Thanos was after?
Yes, the stones.
It was after the crystals.
And guess what? It seems like almost all these movies, it always goes back to the crystal. It always.
If Thanos got all those crystals, it was a wrap.
And I have people come to my table when I'm vending, asking me if I can make that type of piece and all. They're being jokey, funny, and cracking jokes, but there's truth to it. You know what I'm saying?
Facts. They hiding the information in plain sight, within all seriousness.
Our hair, our locks. This is piezoelectricity. That's why That's why the sun and melanated beings. That's why we get our information. That's why it's good to go outside, not be trapped in the house.
That's right.
we're in the age, like you talked about, technology and the information age, but we're also, it's the end of the Piscean age in 2012 and the beginning of the Aquarian age.
Aquarian. That's
And
right.
this is an age of when people would start to become more enlightened. So I'll say it like my grandmother said, the devil is busy right now because they trying to dumb us the fuck down with all this like celebrity rigmarole and politics. My partner's here. She's like got my cosign unison sound going on in the background, but she know what's up.
That's right.
But long story short, seriously, nature is pretty much the key to melanated people. People of color, everybody can do it, but I'm speaking specifically to us because we the ones that be needing to hear this shit.
That's right.
Because if you look at the healers, it's tons of white folks appropriating our shit.
Facts.
I mean, they talk with this information without passing on acknowledgments to who did it first and who understands it. And they take it and twist it around. It comes to us naturally. Like it came to me naturally. I resonate with the things I'm talking about. Now we can go and get some facts and we can find them, but founded information in my own experience. I'm telling you, nature is the key. Put your phone down for a quick second and go do something outside, like attune with the birds and the trees. Not to go off, but remember the tsunami?
Yeah.
The big one? I can't think, Phuket.
Yep.
That tsunami, the animals had left days before it hit. And that was because they were aligned with nature. And crystals and practicing of like the old ways will attune you. So meditation, prayer, whatever you're into, everything disconnecting from technology. Technology is great and it has a benefit, but also if you were attuned, so just imagine if those people were attuned and they wasn't just at the beach and watching videos and BET and doing whatever, not so many people would have died because everybody would have went to higher ground. So I'm saying that to say we're being dumbed down so that we're not attuned. And crystals play a big, huge part if you allow them in helping you tune back in. They're like a signal. They're like electricity. We're electricity. So when we work hand in hand, it's like the alignment kicks in, the law of magnetism, law of attraction kicks in. You start to, if you just like you said, you read a little bit, it opens the whole freaking book up for you because you're doing the work.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Cause and effect.
If I could also speak about, the actual designs of what you do. Now, earlier you had asked me about chakras or if I was familiar with chakras. Well, I wanted to add value in terms of that and kind of go into some of the designs you use to create your pieces. And what chakras are energy vortexes, and they spiral. They'll spiral in one direction going in and the opposite direction going out. Now,
correct.
One thing, in terms of sacred geometry that I want to speak on is this shape that the energy occurs in, and naturally. And right. I know a lot, well, what we can say is winding or, with the antennas or our piezo electricity, it's a spiral. Some people call our hair 9 ether.
What's that symbol? The Reiki symbol.
Chakra.
Chakra.
Okay.
The spiraling one called chakra.
Teach. That's powerful.
In Reiki, and in your hands, your left side is your receiving side. Your right side is your exiting side.
Right.
So the energy flows that way, and that's that spiral. And
that's that spiral.
Hair. Yes.
And I noticed that in your pieces, because when we're dealing with copper, we have copper in our blood. Now, why is this of significance? Because if we look at a house, the framework of a house is going to have copper running all throughout the house for electricity. Now we know that these crystals are generating piezo electricity.
Word.
What does electricity like to flow on? Copper. Now, what is the direction of this flowing? It's spiral. I notice a lot of your pieces have that spiraling copper around it. Is that on purpose? What led you to do that?
So the divine. So I don't pre-plan anything. I'm literally, I sit down and you say, I want a ring. I sit down, I ask you the size of your ring. Most times, my business is online mainly. So most times I am using my intuition to even get your ring size, because most people don't know their ring size. So I'll ask
Facts.
somebody to send me a picture. I might be able to visibly see your hand and then do it. But when I start to design, I literally just kind of quiet my mind and look at the piece, the stone I'm working with, and I work with the stone and I create around the stone. So it's actually just a complement of housing in a sense. And then of course there are people who want me to do more like artistic things, so I might go on really ornate and intricate. But for the most part, I'm just trying to house it so you can wear it. The piece, it's really about the stone and not the jewelry, but the jewelry has developed because I'm creative, and because I like the artistic sides of it. But the spiral is significant, and I've actually just started working with some concepts that aren't found in jewelry, and it's dealing with oscillator flow.
Ooh.
And basing some pieces around the oscillator, or even transformer and translators, because that's when you really get to see the crystal work with the copper. And a
That's
lot of
right.
people don't like copper, and not because they don't like it, because they don't. It's because we've been programmed to think platinum and 14K are the only metals fine jewelry should come in. But people don't understand copper's in all metal. So you're going to find copper everywhere.
Facts.
And people
Facts.
say, I'm allergic to copper. No, you're not. You're acidic. And copper tells you you're acidic.
Ooh.
That's when people turn green, They turn
That,
green because they had sugary or carbs or something. And once it digests and flows through the system, the bloodstream, then that dissipates and the green's gone.
you just blew my mind. You, hold on. You got me. That was a good one. One thing you had mentioned earlier that I had found very powerful. I wanted to just kind of go back to that. The way energy flows, because I think a lot of us are familiar. Well, I don't want to say a lot of us. A couple of people that rock with Crumb, I would assume they're familiar with chakras, because like it's called The Last Airbender, I think.
Uh-huh.
And they had this one scene talking about